a male support worker who stole almost £2,700 from the bank accounts of a man with Down syndrome and a woman with autism over a period of 1 year using their bank cards has been jailed for 16 months. Paul Catton, 51, who has previous convictions for theft and other offences, was working at a residential unit in Whickham in 2013. He was working for a charity-run organisation United Response. Catton, who has problems with alcohol, had used the bank cards to steal the best part of £2,700 from a 29-year-old man of whose mental age was that of a 9-year-old, and a 49-year-old woman with difficulties in learning and autism. Catton's position within the care charity was to take care of the finances of the vulnerable, which he exploited. A parent of the male resident spotted unusual behavior in their son's bank account and reported it to the unit's management team. This led to Catton being caught. The accused admitted to 2 counts of fraud at Newcastle Crown Court and received a 16-month spell behind bars. Judge John Milford QC deemed Catton as fortunate to have found himself in this position of work given Catton's past record. He further went on to say, he said, "You're not unknown to the courts and you were fortunate indeed that your employers knew of your past but were prepared to give you a chance, which you threw back in their faces, abusing the position of trust imposed on you." Judge Milford added, "This was abuse of trust and responsibility. It was fraudulent activity conducted over a sustained period of time and you deliberately targeted victims on the basis of their vulnerability." Neil Pallister, prosecuting, said Catton had stolen £2,541.50 from the male resident using 35 fraudulent bank card withdrawals between August 2014 and August 2015. The court was told he also stole £150 from the female resident, using 2 bank card withdrawals, in 2015. Mr. Pallister said, "The first victim has Down syndrome. He also has learning difficulties and hearing difficulties. He's got a mental age of 8 or 9 years old and has limited speech and understanding." In order to assist the victim with day-to-day life, he moved into the Blake Avenue unit about 7 years prior to the offending taking place. Mr. Pallister said Catton was trusted to help the victim with his finances, which came from a joint bank account with his mother. But he used his position to steal money, until, on one occasion, the victim's mother noticed the bank balance was unusually low and challenged the unit's bosses. Lee Fish, mitigating, said Catton had immediately confessed when the irregularities were brought to light and also admitted to stealing from the second female victim. Mr. Fish said, "Mr. Catton said at the time, I just feel ashamed, embarrassed and full of remorse. And so he should. I do not, in any way, seek to undermine the seriousness of this offending and the seriousness of his position and the high degree of trust that has been breached in this case, but this defendant was penniless. He can't put this right, but what he has done is immediately confess what he did and admit it at a very early stage.